Israel's democracy is being tested on the streets. In France, mass protests and riots over retirement age reform are threatening the Fifth Republic. Yet both were invited here to the second Summit for Democracy. Stable societies such as Singapore and Hungary were not. While the definition of democracy has been debated for millennia, in his first 2 years in office, US President Joe Biden has characterized the world as engaged in an existential tussle between autocracies and democracies.
We're at an inflection point in history here. When the decisions we make today are going to affect the course of our world for the next several decades for certain. We're going forward from this summit. Our job is to keep building on our progress so we don't start heading in the wrong direction again, to keep the momentum going. This is a turning point for our world toward greater freedom, greater dignity, and greater democracy.
High-minded rhetoric aside, the guest list for this summit, as with the first one in late 2021, suggests the US sees itself as the arbiter of what constitutes a democracy. And while admitting to its own problems in upholding its democracy, Washington continues to lecture friends and foes alike.
Like many strong supporters of Israel, I'm very concerned. And I'm concerned that they get this straight. They cannot continue down this road. And I've sort of made that clear.
Israel's Prime Minister responded, defending Israel's sovereignty and saying it would not be pressured from abroad. The US says this summit is not about endorsing one country or another as paragons of democracy, but a chance to bring like-minded nations and regions together to share best practices in safeguarding democracy from within. But when key NATO allies are excluded, like Turkey and even Taipei is invited to participate, critics question the calculations behind the invites. This summit, while mainly virtual, however, includes a number of bilateral meetings with foreign leaders, including a Biden meeting with Argentinian President Alberto Fernandez. The word democracy dates back to ancient Greece and essentially means people power. Now, under that definition, of course, the guest list for this summit would be a lot larger, potentially, than the US one right now. But that would, of course, mean inviting countries and regions that the US right now would rather shun. Nathan King, CGTN, just outside the White House.